Hi, Chris here at Chris Seafood. We're on our day off today, and I have Chef Leanne Greentree here, and we're gonna focus on the mushrooms that we sell here at the store 6 days a week in the Woodstock Farmers Market. We've got a certified organic maitake mushroom from Shogun Maitake outside of London, baby king oysters, black oyster, and some shiitake mushrooms. And today we are going to be cooking a
Japanese Nigiri.
Well, let's get started.
Let's get started. So I did do the rice portion of this dish ahead of time, and I'm going to just talk a little bit about how I prepared that. So the nigiri usually are more of like a cylinder type rice ball. So normally this does have seafood on the top, so you can make it with tuna and different things. But today we are going to be using the mushrooms. And the way that you make the sushi rice, the way that I prepared this was, it's going to be 2 cups of Japanese short grain rice, so sushi rice. It's going to be 2 cups of water. It's going to be 4 teaspoons of sugar and 1 teaspoon of fine sea salt. So you're going to prepare that either on the stovetop or in your rice cooker. Now, once that is actually finished cooking, you are going to, while it's cooking, you're going to be dissolving the vinegar, sugar, and salt on the stovetop. So you're going to just cook that until it dissolves, and then you can take it off the heat. Once the rice is cooked, you're going to pour it over the rice, and you're going to not stir it aggressively, but you're going to stir it and slice through it so that you don't mush up the rice. You're just going to combine it enough so that the rice is all combined with the vinegar mixture.
Like a folding
it in. So you are then going to let it cool, and you can do this by hand. You can make these by hand, just with a little bit of water on your hands, and you can make the cylinder. I bought myself a little sushi kit, and these are really great because they make it very easy to do. Also, this is great for kids to get them to help make it as well, because it is really fun. Mm-hmm. So this particular kit that I bought has the sushi rolling mat, a very sharp sushi knife, the rice paddle, which I find very helpful, and then it also has one of these molds. So these are really great because after you finish the sushi rice, you can put the rice inside of here, you close it, and then you basically, what you do is you'll take the lid off, you'll flip it over because the rice is inside. And I should mention as well that I usually will take a little bit of rice vinegar and I'll put it on a paper towel and I'll just wet the inside so that it doesn't stick. And so then you flip it over, and it actually has these little cutouts here, and if you push them down, they all pop out. So it makes it very easy. You don't have to handle the rice as much, but of course you can also do it by hand. It's just a little bit more work. This particular rice ball, I put Japanese umeboshi, which is a Japanese pickled plum. So they look like this, and they have a pit inside. And what I did was I took the outside off, I chopped it up, and then when the rice was hot, I actually mixed it in. Now, I really like these because they're very sour. They have such a really unique taste, and they go really well with the sushi rice. You can get these at Asian grocery stores. That's where I got these, and if you've ever had them, they're very delicious.
Can I try one?
Yeah, absolutely. Just there's a pit inside, so just
watch out.
Yeah.
There's a pit. Wow. That packs a lot of flavor.
It's got a lot of flavor in it.
That is delicious.
Yes. So then you can put it, I usually mix it in with rice. I also eat them plain as well. I do a deconstructed sushi bowl at Fair Square downtown that I do, and I always include this because I think it's just such a special, unique ingredient. So I did mix that in, and then on the top, I just rolled the rice in a little bit of black roasted sesame seeds. So they just look they're just really pretty, I guess, as well as tasty. So that's the first part of the dish. Now, also when it comes to sushi, obviously we like to have the toppings, which I will do after I've cooked, we'll add on after I've cooked the mushrooms, but Normally there's green onion. I like putting green onion on this particular one. There's some pickled ginger, some wasabi, and then also soy sauce. And when it comes to soy sauce and having soy sauce with sushi, it's always good, in my opinion, to have a really nice high quality soy sauce for dipping. When I'm making a marinade or a sauce, I don't use a really expensive, really nice soy sauce. But I think when it comes to sushi and when you're actually dipping it right in, it's kind of nice to have that like a more high quality soy sauce.
So where do you get a really good soy sauce, Leanne?
So I get my soy sauce normally from Southeast Asian grocery stores. So
Right.
I do a lot of shopping in Waterloo to get some of these ingredients. Like the umebashi comes from Waterloo, as well as some of the higher quality soy sauce that you can get. You can also buy them online, but it makes a really good soy sauce makes a huge difference,
Nice.
especially when you're using it as a dipping sauce. But again, you can just use regular either. For this dish, you could use soy sauce, or you can use tamari, which is gluten-free. I know a lot of people are gluten-free these days, and you can get really nice gluten-free tamaris
Okay.
for this dish as well. I'm using soy sauce today. So moving on to the mushroom part of the dish. So with this particular dish, I have marinated the maitake, shiitake, the oyster, and the king oyster mushrooms. And so I've actually marinated these overnight. You don't have to marinate them overnight. They technically, I would say a minimum of about a half an hour.
Okay.
If you marinate them overnight, they're really gonna soak in the flavor. Especially the maitake does tend to be, if you're not familiar with maitake is definitely has a more
It's
robust
earthy,
flavor.
yeah.
Earthy.
Yeah.
It has a lot of flavor to it. And I think the marination really balances that well. So
Nice.
I really like to marinate them overnight. So the marinating sauce that I've used here, it is a combination of a third cup of soy sauce or tamari. It's 2 tablespoons of dark maple syrup. It's 1 teaspoon of chili garlic sauce or sriracha. I like the heat. If you don't like it, you can always leave it out.
You do like your
I
heat
do
in your
love
dishes.
The heat in the dishes, so I put it in there, and then 1 teaspoon of sesame oil. So that's basically my marinade, and so that's what I've done here. So they're all ready to go. Now, when it comes to the mushrooms and how to cut them for this dish, because you basically want the mushrooms to fit on top of your rice. So I've used all 4 of these mushrooms in this. With the shiitake, I've just cut off the stem. With the oyster, I've kind of just left them whole. With the maitake, I've sliced them basically like this kind of thickness, and maybe just a little bit bigger than this, although this would still be good because even though it's going to shrink, it will still fit nicely on the top. So I've sliced them like this. And then for the king oyster,
Why don't you show us how? I see some
Yeah.
nice cross.
Yes. I really love using these. These mushrooms are so great for this dish. They're so versatile. You can obviously, you can use them, you can shred them with a fork and use it, you can bake it in the oven and it could be like a pulled pork. These are so versatile. They can really be whatever you want them to be, which is one of the reasons why I like them so much.
I've seen you make them into scallops.
Yes, and you can make them with scallops. Yeah, they have so many uses, and they also absorb flavor really well
Nice.
too. So they can really be whatever you want them to be. So I will usually cut the king oysters. I would say like about that thickness. It does look a bit thick, but once it's in the marinade, it will definitely be a lot thinner. So I'll just show you what I've done. There's 2 different ways that you can cut this, and I like to cut it with sort of like almost like a crosshatch pattern. So you go kind of halfway down, and you slice them like this, and then you flip it and you do it the other way. And then you flip it over and you do it the same way on the other side. And what this does, I find this makes them so tender. Oh, I think I sliced that one a little too much.
I didn't see a thing.
This makes them so tender. And because you have all of these crevices in it, it really gets the marinade in all of that, and it really it makes them. Normally, these can be a bit tough if you just kind of fry them, but this makes them really, really nice, especially for the nigiri. So that's kind of how I do it, and then I just marinate them. Now you can also do it so that when you're slicing it, you can also slice them just almost kind of like you would, almost sort of, I guess, like to give it sort of a tuna look, if you're kind of wanting to go for that. So you can just take your knife and do this as well. So that's the other way that you can do it, is that kind of slice as well. And I must also say that this type of mushroom is a mushroom. I'm going to do a very, very quick sear on this. We're talking like 30 seconds. But these mushrooms actually all can be, they can all be eaten raw. So you could also,
just the way they are right now.
You can eat them exactly
nice.
that. You can, all of them can be consumed raw. So you could marinate them really, really well instead of cooking them. Have them obviously a little bit more sushi-like and not cook them and just put them on the top. I'm gonna brown them a little bit on this. So we're just.
So why don't we just let that heat up for a second, and we'll come back and we'll cook them right up. Okay. All right, we're back. We got that bad boy heating up here, and Leanne's gonna tell us a little bit while this heats up. Cooking with cast iron.
If you don't own a cast iron, you definitely need to get one. Some people I know are a little nervous about them. They think that they're high maintenance and not easy to take care of. I would say that's not true. I love cast iron. I probably cook in it. I was just telling Chris a couple times a day. I have multiple pieces of cast iron. They're very easy to take care of, and even if you need to reseason them, you don't have to do it very often. And they're great. They're easy. You just got to give it a quick rinse out. With the mushrooms that I'm going to make now, I just rubbed a bit of oil, so a little bit of vegetable oil in the pan, and I'm just heating it up. These mushrooms won't take very long to cook. We're talking maybe 30 seconds. We just want a little bit of a brown on them. They've been sitting in the marinade for a while, so we don't want it to get too hot. So we're going to take.
Ooh, that was fast.
So we just want to do it until they are. We just want to give them a very quick sear. The thing about cast iron is you can just leave them for a minute. Not even a minute, probably like 30 seconds.
Do you find a difference when you're cooking on a stovetop as compared to induction burners?
Yes, I feel like induction burners are definitely a little more hot, and so you just have to be careful. Like a stove at home is probably it's not gonna heat up as fast as this induction cooktop is. So there's a little bit of just have to be a little bit careful with if you're going to use an induction. So we're just trying to get just a little bit of a sear on this. We don't want to burn them. Because the marinade has maple syrup in it, and also because the soy sauce will also can tend to burn as well, you just need to be just really careful with these.
But my mouth is watering with the smell that's in here, because these smell amazing right now. And I'm a big sushi fan. I cannot wait for this dish.
Okay. So these ones are done, and I'm actually just going to plate them right away. So basically what you do is you're just going to put your mushroom right on the top there. A little bit more. Like I said, you don't want to get them, you just want a little bit of a sear on them. Got the oyster.
So we got the baby king oyster, black oyster. We got a shiitake cap going on the middle one there.
I go with the two here. We're gonna go with the bigger one.
Go with a big maitake.
On there. But there we go. So now, that's pretty easy. Now you're just going to want to put a little bit of topping on it. Now, I mean, normally I will just put a little bit of a green onion on it. So you can just put just a little. Just a little bit of green onion on the top. And then obviously this is served with the wasabi and the pickled ginger and the soy sauce. Now, I did want to mention, this is such a great dish to do if you're going to have a party, you're going to have people over. It's also very fun for kids to make. There's so many options for the toppings for this. So you can use some of Chris's amazing seafood on some of them. You can use mushrooms, all different types of vegetables.
Avocado you mentioned.
Yeah, avocado, some thinly sliced cucumber, asparagus when it's in season is amazing, roasted eggplant. So you can really, the options are really endless when it comes to the toppings.
So you can make like a sushi bar.
Yes.
You have all of your different fixins. You could have these made ahead of time for entertaining, and just have people have at it.
Yeah, it's a very unique, very easy. Like I said, especially if you get one of the molds, you can make them really, really fast. So that's basically the dish here, and then you can just have all of your toppings here, and that's it. Chris, would you like to have a taste?
Well, would I? So what do you recommend? Do you recommend just grabbing a piece? I want a little bit of.
You need to have a little bit of. I don't know if you want to put the wasabi inside the soy sauce. The little bit of ginger.
Fingers.
If you want, you can use fingers. You don't have to use chopsticks.
I'm going for the maitake.
Go maitake.
And now, what's the proper etiquette? Is it just dipping, eating?
Yeah, what I usually do is I'll put some wasabi and mix it into the soy sauce and then dip in here and then eat it. So it's
little
totally up to
wasabi
you.
into there.
Yeah.
I love the wasabi.
You like the heat? Okay.
Make sure you go ahead and grab one. I'm not eating alone this morning.
Okay. And do you want a little ginger?
I do.
Here, let me get a little ginger. Want a little ginger on the top? There you go.
Now, is this a one biter?
You can. It's going to be a big one.
That's
bite.
a big one bite.
It's going to be a big one bite, but you can do it.
I'm
gonna do the shiitake.
Okay. I'm gonna take one for the team here. Bear with me.
Okay.
I'm gonna dip.
Oop. Oopsie. Lost my topping there.
That's delicious. Wasabi really comes through.
Yes, it does.
I love that. You get the rice, you get the maitake mushroom. Oh man.
Well, I'm glad that you enjoyed it.
Leanne, thank you so much for taking the time to come in. We didn't even get into the nutritional aspects of these mushrooms, but that's for another video. I just want to let people know Leanne's amazing dishes can be found at Fair Square, where I believe you order online, you go and pick up.
Yeah, so they're available every Wednesday. Normally every Wednesday, I do a fresh dish every Wednesday. You can pre-order online or you can pick one up in store. On Wednesdays, I do extras for walk-in customers. And Fair Square is located just across from Museum Square in downtown Woodstock.
So you can get pickup, fast food, vegan friendly, and flavorful dishes from Leanne Greentree. Chef Leanne Greentree, thank you for coming in. It was such a pleasure and can't wait to dig into more of your dishes as you keep cranking them out.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And remember, Chris Seafood, we're here to make your meals hook, line, and simple. That was delicious. You got to try one, Garrett.